like my mom called me afterwards and she was like, "Oh my god, how was the movie?" Because she's a Maze Runner fan. And I was like, "It was good. They found the cure, but they didn't cure anyone, and that kind of sucks." But overall, I mean, it was a good ending to the story, so it was alright. It was good, and I told her that, and she wasn't that into it anymore. So it was okay. I'm sorry, guys. It was just okay.
Thomas, you can save your friends. Or you can save us all.
Okay, so sort of a history on my feelings about the Maze Runner series. So far, I think they're good. They're okay. They're not my favorite, but I really like them. The original Maze Runner, I was actually at a work function and we had to go see it, and I really didn't have any interest. I guess the previews didn't hook me in, even though normally this sort of film is my thing. And I ended up loving it. And I think it's because I went into it without any expectations, but the original movie, I just loved their friendship, and I loved the characters and the story, and I thought it was great. And then when it came to the Scorch Trials, I liked the Scorch Trials, but I was a little bit disappointed. I think the first movie was much better. I think it wasn't the characters or the acting. I just think overall the story was more interesting in the first film. But I was still looking forward to the Death Cure. So here are my thoughts. One of the things the series really has going for it is the characters and the chemistry of the actors. Thomas, Newt, Frypan, even Teresa and Jorge, they just have really great chemistry on film, and you really believe in their friendship. And if you don't have that, then the series doesn't really work. And I felt like this chapter, it just continued that, and you could kind of feel their bond and their connection, and you really believed that they would go through anything to save Mino. Another great part of this is the action. I mean, I know that the budget for these films aren't amazing, they aren't super high, but some of these action scenes looked better than some of the DC action scenes that we saw from last year. I think because, they didn't have a lot of money for a ton of CGI, you could kind of feel the grittiness of the action. Like the opening scene, the train scene, fantastic. I love the way that it was shot. Like in the theater, I turned to my friend and I was like, wow, this is shot so amazing. It seems like they were, of course, using shaky cam, which I know is a common thing that action movies do now, but it wasn't that they just use shaky cam. It felt like I was in the action and didn't feel like I was watching them. You could tell that they were in a car and they were kind of riding along with the train, and as they moved, you kind of moved, and it just really got you in there. All of the fight scenes, everything was just so well shot and well acted, and I thought those parts were flawless. So another part of the film that I really enjoyed was the theme of friendship kind of at the end of the world. Do you choose friendship or do you choose humanity? Do you choose things that are above yourself? Throughout the film, you can tell that they're all kind of deciding what choice to make. I mean, it's difficult. Do you choose the people you love, or do you choose the people who've done bad things to you? But just because they've done bad things to you doesn't mean that overall everyone is bad. And that's what's complicated. That's kind of what drives the story and what keeps it interesting. And so I really enjoyed that theme, because as you watch it, you think, honestly, I don't know what I would do. What would be more important? Would it be sacrificing myself and sacrificing my friends? Or would I choose my friends, leave everyone behind, and say, kind of fend for yourself? And that's what I enjoyed about this film. Even at the end, I mean, we saw what happened where everyone who was immune ended up on an island anyway. The fact that they kind of, Thomas went back and he chose to save humanity, but at the end of the day, sometimes friendship's just stronger, So I thought that was super interesting, and I kind of liked how they resolved that. All right, so let's get to the not so good. Overall, the film for me, it dragged. I mean, the movie, I think it's like 2.5 hours, 2 hours and 20 minutes. I mean, if you add on previews and you first get there, and I mean, I'm like, middle of the movie, I'm like, what? I've been here too long. I mean, yeah, it's a good movie, and I enjoy the themes, and I'm enjoying the characters and all that great stuff, but some of this stuff could be cut out. Like, all the slow-mo. Like, all the slow-mo. I'm like, dude, this is so unnecessary. I don't know if it's a script. I don't know if it's the editor, but like, get it together. These movies should not be 2.5 hours. And I know it goes down to story. It's not about timing. It's about telling a good story. But there were parts of that film that you could have cut out that didn't need to be that long. So it felt like it dragged. So the first act was full of like this amazing action and the train scene, and the second act, and then the scene where they're driving through the cave and they have the zombies. All that was great. And I know that the whole movie can't be all action. You know, you've got to have some drama in there that gets the characters to keep going. I don't know. Sorry guys, for me, it dragged. One of my biggest pet peeves is when I'm in a film and I know what's going to happen next. Like, it shouldn't be obvious. That means that your story is super cliche. And yeah, so at the beginning of the movie, when they helped the people escape, and then Mino wasn't in the cart that they took, I was like, wow, that's cool. I mean, I kind of thought that was going to happen, but I wasn't sure. And that was exciting. And then once they went through the tunnel, I'm like, well, obviously, you know, the Jorge and the crew and Brenda are going to come and save them, right? And then boom, they appeared. I mean, there's so many moments like that in the movie where you're watching and you're like, well, they're not going to die here. Like, so-and-so's going to come. Oh, here comes a helicopter, or here comes the plane. Like, you knew what was going to happen next, and that's so lazy to me. My friend was with me, and there were so many moments where he was like, why don't they just do this? Like, they have a tunnel into the city, so why don't they just all sneak in at night and then take over the city? Like, that's a plot hole. And I'm like, no, because at that moment, they want to crash. They want to bring the whole thing down. You know, they don't want to get in there. They want to bring it down. You know, I kept on having to make excuses, even though I knew he was right. Like, so many plot holes. There's so many moments where it's like, oh, they could have just done this, but hey, if they want to keep it complicated, I don't know. I shouldn't be able to predict what's going to happen next. For a 2.5 hour movie, I shouldn't know what's going to happen at the end. It killed me. I'm sorry. Another part of the movie that I didn't quite care for was the entire Teresa storyline. Okay, so let's just... No. I understand that Thomas has feelings for her and he can't help that he loves her, and I get that, and that goes back to the theme that I like. But like, she betrayed your friends. As someone that's part of the audience, like, I don't care what happens to her. She went against the crew. She is not cool. I do not like her. So when she was on the bridge, it was like another super slow-mo moment where it's like, no, and Thomas is so sad. In the audience, I was like, good. Let her die. Bye. Bye. Let her die. Like, I did not care. I did not care what happened to her. And I felt like that's a final moment. Like, that's the end. You killed someone that I personally didn't really care that much about. Maybe in the books they have a better connection and you kind of understand their love a little bit more. But after what she did and you already chose the crew, like, I don't feel bad for her. Bye. No one cares. See you. Bye-bye. So overall, would I recommend Maze Runner: The Death Cure? I would say a mild recommend. Just because the action scenes are cool. If you've seen the other two films, yeah, you should go see it. I'm sitting here watching this movie. I'm like, I already know everything that's going to happen. Like, can I go? You know that person who looks at their watch in the movie theater and you see it light up and you're like, are they really that bored? I was that bored. So, okay, I liked it, but it's alright.